Now at 11, a lawsuit from Art Acevedo, who was fired by the city of Miami only 6 months into his job as chief of police. You may remember the city held several heated commission meetings before letting him go.
Acevedo is now suing the city of Miami, the city manager, and the city commissioners. CBS 4's Carly Barnett is here now with more. Carly?
Well, Elliot, Lauren, after some long and at times downright bizarre meetings back in the fall, former Chief Acevedo was ultimately fired. Now, Acevedo may no longer be the Michael Jordan of police chiefs, as he was once referred to by the city, but there is still talk of a court, federal court that is. Acevedo is firing back in this lengthy lawsuit.
Or Texas, I'm going to be the chief of Miami.
Former Miami Police Chief Art Acevedo has filed a 50-page lawsuit against the city of Miami, naming specifically city manager Art Noriega and commissioners Manolo Reyes, Joe Carollo, and Alex Diaz de la Portilla. The lawsuit claims those commissioners, quote, targeted Chief Acevedo because of his resistance to their efforts to use the MPD to carry out their personal agendas and vendettas, his reform efforts, and his speaking out against corruption and the abuse of power by the city of Miami Commission. And when the defendant commissioner's efforts to intimidate Chief Acevedo failed, the defendant commissioners pressured Noriega to suspend Chief Acevedo, humiliated Chief Acevedo at public meetings, and ultimately voted to fire him. At the end of September, Acevedo was the subject of criticism in commission meetings. Among the concerns, a comment he made about the department being run by the Cuban mafia, his demoting of certain officers, and Commissioner Carollo even went so far as to criticize the size of Acevedo's pants when he performed as Elvis for a charity fundraiser.
The only time that you would see me like that was when I played football, but it's because I had a jockstrap.
The new lawsuit alleges Commissioner Carollo demanded Acevedo investigate multiple businesses of his political opponent on allegations Acevedo says were unfounded. It also accuses commissioners of interfering in an investigation into a Miami officer accused of breaching security. And it says commissioners pushed back against his efforts to combat use of excessive force and expose alleged cover-ups. The lawsuit cites a specific instance where, after a woman in police custody spit on an officer, the officer punched her in the face and drove her to the ground, causing her to lose consciousness. Acevedo says he was retaliated against for blowing the whistle against the corruption he says he saw. Now, in response, Commissioner Manolo Reyes issued a statement saying, in part, at no time did I give Mr. Acevedo a list of restaurants and bars to investigate, nor did I give him any directive regarding an internal affairs investigation. We will have our day in court. And City Manager Art Noriega says, quote, I look forward to the opportunity to discredit these false claims made by the former police chief. It's clearly an attempt to retaliate against the individuals that held him accountable for his own shortcomings as Miami police chief and to attempt to salvage his professional reputation by casting blame on others, end quote. Now, we reached out to Commissioner Joe Carollo, who did not respond for comment. Lauren, Elliott.